What's the first thing that you have to do when you are solving in algebra? Not yet. No. What? No. What was yours, Al? Not yet. It's actually done for you already in this problem. Not equals 0. Yep. First step is you have to get it equal to 0. Okay? That's your first step. Second step. Not yet. What's our second step in terms of problems like this today? Can't do that, because then I wouldn't have it equal to 0. What? How are we going to split it up, quote unquote? It's an F word. Factor. So what are the different ways to factor? What do we do first? GFC? KCF? KFC? GFC. Greatest common. See, now you got me saying it. Common factor. GCF. Okay? What's next? Then what do we look for? What's our next one? Way number 2. Nope, that's way number 3. Difference of perfect squares. Next way is what? Trinomials, just regular old trinomials, factoring it in the butt cheeks. Next way. Perfect square trinomials. That's bad. My cues aren't very good. Okay, what's the next way? That's 4 of the 6. Grouping is next. Whoa, hate it when it does that. Now I gotta start all the way over again. And the last way. You had to do it in order to walk in that door today. Starts with a C. Ends with Ubix. Cubics. Okay. So let's look at that problem now. We have it equal to 0. We can factor it. Let's see. So it's not is there a GCF that we can pull out? No. Is it a difference of perfect squares? Why not? Why is it not a difference of perfect squares? 18 isn't a perfect square is one reason. What's another reason? Why is x to the fourth minus 7x squared minus 18 not a difference of perfect squares? Even more so than 18 is not a perfect square. Negative 18 is not a perfect square either. Why is this not a difference of perfect squares? Difference of perfect squares only has how many terms? 2. How many terms are in this one? 3. So it's not the difference of perfect squares. Is it the difference or sum of cubes? Let's do that one right away too. Is it one like this? Because why? It has 3 terms in it. So you can't do anything that's a binomial. Okay? So that means that this one can't be. This one can't be. This one, can it be grouping? No. 3 terms. Got to have an even number of terms for grouping. Okay? Is 18 a perfect square? No, so that takes out perfect square trinomial. We already said that there is no GCF, so that leaves us with trinomial. Okay, so what does it factor to be?
X squared minus 9 and then x squared plus 2.
Do we agree? Yes? Can it be factored anymore?
X squared minus 9 can be factored.
Because now that is a
Difference of squares.
difference of perfect squares. So that one can be factored to be
X plus 3, x minus 3.
Can it be factored anymore? Okay, all right. So now we've got to go to step number 3. What's step 3 in this one now?
Solving.
How are we going to go about solving? What, KG? Factor equals 0. Okay, set each factor equal to 0. Is that what you were going to say is? Fantastic. Okay, so x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. X squared plus 2 equals 0. Now what? So, solve. Yeah. Now we can solve. Okay? So now we can solve. So we get x here equals negative 3. X here equals positive 3. And what do we get over here? We get x squared equals negative 2, right? And then we square root both sides.
Plus or minus
So that gives us x equals plus or minus
I square root of 2.
I times the square root of 2. Because we don't like the square root of negative 2. Okay? So now, let's go back up a little bit here. How many answers should have we gotten for this problem? How many answers should we get for this? How many zeros? How many solutions? Answers. X-intercepts. we want to call it. How many should we get factors for this problem? Why 4? Because the degree is 4. The original problem's degree, way back right up here, was 4. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 answers for my problem. Oops. Okay. Now, on page 365 is something called the rational root theorem. Okay? Not too overly worried about you knowing what the rational root theorem is. Okay? If you go on to either pre-calculus or if you go on to Algebra 3 here at Wausau West, or if you go on to college algebra, then the rational root theorem will become even more. Okay? It's for basically if you have an unfactorable polynomial. How can we find roots? Well, what it says is if we have some polynomial ax to the 4th, let's say, plus dot 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 plus, I don't know why my pen's acting all goofy like that. Maybe we can get that off and get that plus c all the way down at the end. Okay? So if we have that, all of the roots all of the solutions, all the zeros, etc., will be of the form, that's kind of really annoying to me actually, but oh well, will be of the form some factor of c divided by some factor of a. Okay? So if we take that last problem that we just had, x to the 4th plus, oops, excuse me, it was minus 7x, wasn't it? Minus 7x squared, and then it was minus, no, it was 18, not 28. I'm getting ahead of myself. Minus 18 equals 0. Okay? All the roots would be some factor of 18, so that would be plus and minus 18, plus and minus 9, plus and minus 6, plus and minus 3, plus and minus 2, plus and minus 1. All of those divided by factors of 1. And so the real one that we found was these two right there. They were in that list. Okay. But again, we'll get more into that later on. It's just in your book. We decided to let you know about it. All the ones that you have for us are factorable. Okay? All right? So, solve that equation. Go! Step number 1 is what? Set 0, done. Okay? Step number 2. Factor. Can I GCF it? No. Is it a difference of perfect squares? No. Is it a trinomial? No. Is it a perfect square trinomial? No. Can I group it? Is it a cubic? Yeah. Okay. So it's a cubic plus a cubic, right? Okay. So that means then that this factors to be excuse me, x plus 1 and x squared, then minus x plus 1 equals 0. Yeah? Yeah. Following this formula that we had last Friday. Okay. X squared minus x plus 1. Factorable, not factorable. Minus x plus 1. Factorable, not factorable. Give me another shot. No. Okay. Provided you did all of your GCFing first. Okay. When you go to that cubic formula that we got last Friday, that second factor will not be factorable. Okay. That second factor is not factorable. Okay. So then that means we go to x plus 1 equals 0 and x squared minus x plus 1 equals 0. I can handle this first one. What do we have to do on the other one? If it's not factorable, and I need to get 2 zeros out of it. Quadratic formula. Okay? Remember, that's opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that's going to be opposite of negative 1 is positive 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared is positive 1 minus 4 times 1 times 1 is minus 4 all over 2 times 1 is 2. Bless you. So that's going to be 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 all over 2. Do I like 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 3? All over 2. What do I like in its place? Where? All over 2. Yep, that's what I like instead. X equals 1 plus or minus I times the square root of 3 all over 2. How many answers should have I gotten from the start? 3. How many answers did I get in the end? 3. Because negative 1 is 1. 1 plus is 2. 1 minus is 3. I just wrote it as 2. Okay. All right. Try that one. All right. So this one factors to be what? X squared minus 4 and x squared plus 7. Can I go any further with my factoring?
Yes.
What can I go to?
X minus 2,
X minus 2,
x plus 2.
x plus 2, and then x squared plus 7. Okay. Can I go any further? Nope. So then x minus 2 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. x squared plus 7 equals 0. X here is going to equal 2. X here is going to equal negative 2. X squared is going to equal negative 7. Then I'm going to take the square root on both sides. And then x here is going to equal plus or minus what? I square roots of 7. And those are my 4 answers. Yes? Fantastic. What about this one? Is x cubed plus 11x squared plus 37x plus 42, is that factorable? It is? Yeah? We can probably group it. Let's try grouping it. What are we going to pull out of the first two?
X squared.
X squared, right? That leaves me with x plus 11, right? What are we going to pull out of the second two? What are we going to pull out of 37x plus 42? Nothing, right? So can I group it? No. Okay? So I got to go in a different way. Luckily, we have the picture, the graph that goes along with this function. What can we get from that graph? There's a, not an x. There's a 0 at negative 6. There's a, what else at negative 6? 0. An x-intercept of negative 6 comma 0. What else? There's a solution of negative 6. That's 3 of them. There's a root of negative 6. That's 4 of them. We already gave answer. We got answer. We got solution. We got root. We got x-intercept. What's the only one we're missing? Say it louder. A factor of what? Don't say negative 6. What's the factor?
X plus 6.
X plus 6 is the factor. Okay? All that is given to us with that right there. Okay? So, we have a factor that goes into this problem, right? So, let's find the other factor. How are we going to find if we have a factor here of x plus 6, how are we going to find the other factor of this function? How you want to divide it into it? Synthetic would probably be a great choice. Okay? Faster, cleaner, quicker. So, negative 6 is my 0. 1, 11, 37, 42 are my coefficients. Drop the 1, negative 6. Add 5. Multiply, negative 30. Add, positive 7. Multiply, negative 42. Add 0. Okay? So, f of x can be rewritten as what? X plus 6 times, now go Andrew.
X squared plus 5x plus 7.
Okay. I don't just rewrite it as what it is because that I'm talking about the whole function yet. Okay. All right. Now, knowing what you know from chapters 4 and 3 and 2, what can you tell me about the solutions, the answers, the zeros, the roots to f of x? Which is going to help us when we go and try and do something with that second factor. What can you tell me about it? Specifically, what can you tell me about the graph? Okay, keep going. How many imaginaries? How many? How many? Remember, imaginaries have to come in pairs, so it's got to be an even number. 2 imaginaries, right? So do I even waste time trying to factor x squared plus 5x plus 7? Is it going to give me real answers? No, so I'm not even going to waste my time trying to factor that. So let's go right to x plus 6 equals 0. So then x is going to equal negative 6. We got that one from the graph. Then I've got x squared plus 5x plus 7 equals 0. I'm not even going to waste my time trying to factor it because it's not factorable. So then I have to do what? Quadratic formula. Okay? So x here is going to equal negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 minus 4 times 1 times 7 is 28, all divided by 2 times a, which is 2. So that is negative 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 all over 2. Do I like that as my final answer? Why not? We can make it look pretty. X equals negative 5 plus or minus I times the square root of 3 all over 2. And there's my 3 answers. You try that one. Right? 0 at 4. Factor of x minus 4. Okay. So let's divide that 0 of 4 into 1 negative 4.75 positive 3.125 negative 0.5. 1, 4, negative 0.75. It's negative 3.125.5. 0. Okay. Yes? Couple of side notes here. First off, this is negative 3/4. Fractions will come into play a little bit. This is 1/8. Okay, just so you know. Trust me on this, yes. Okay. F of x here is going to be then x minus 4 times x squared minus 3/4 x plus 1/8. Okay, good there. X squared minus 3/4 x plus 1/8 equals 0. Not factorable, or I don't even want to try factoring it really, because it's got ugly numbers. So I can use the quadratic formula. And so let's drop a little. X equals, opposite of negative 3/4 is positive 3/4, plus or minus the square root of negative 3/4 squared is 9/16, minus 4 times 1 times 1/8. 4 times 1 is 1, times 1/8 is 1/2. Yes? But I'm not going to write 1/2 as 1/2. What am I going to write it as? Not 0.5, fraction kind of a guy. 8/16. Why am I going to write it as 8/16? What's going to happen inside that radical? You're going to have to subtract fractions, right? What do you need in order to subtract fractions? Common denominator. Okay? And all of that is going to be divided by 2. 9/16 minus 8/16. 1/16. So this is 3/4 plus or minus the square root of 1/16 all over 2. Square root of 1/16. Square root of 1. 1. Square root of 4. Or excuse me, square root of 16. 4. So this is 3/4 plus or minus 1/4 all over 2. Break it out. Plus, what is 3/4 plus 1/4? Whoa, where did that come in? Whoa, why is it like, it's like double. It's writing in green and I can't even get rid of that. What the heck? Delete. Oops, that should be a 4th. Divided by 2 there. Okay, so then that's 1 divided by 2, correct? So that's 1/2. Now let's do minus. 3/4 minus 1/4 is 1/2, right? 1/2 divided by 2. 1/4. So my 3 answers here are x equals 4, x equals 1/2, and x equals... Oh, hey, guys, I'm not done. And x equals 1/4, right? Looking back at your graph, do those 3 answers makes sense. Yeah? This is not, you have to inspect it. This right here is not a double root. It's just like we were talking yesterday from the formative. Okay? When you're looking at that stuff, you have to be kind of careful with what you're looking at. Alright? Purple tonight is your homework. Due tomorrow.